And we're back for the trial ladder. And, uh, yeah, I'm not quite coherent because I spent majority of the night reading Battle Royale. And yeah, I can definitely see where Danganronpa got majority of its inspiration from, if it not flat out said we're gonna do Battle Royale, only with a smaller cast and a freaking bear. And also Sizzy version, because if you know Battle Royale, you know that it's pretty bloody and gory. Oh, by the way, if you think of like writing a story or anything like that, don't make an invincible villain. They're annoying because you know that they're just gonna come back, and they're boring because you know you can't defeat them, so even if something big happens, you're like, yeah, so he's still gonna walk up and like be like, yeah, that's barely even a scratch on me. Kiriyama was a terrible character for that in Battle Royale. And again, I will admit he was kind of hilarious and goofy shortly before he was killed. Finally, you know, when he was moving around like a puppet with its strings all tangled up. Yeah, I gotta focus on this. Sorry, Edgeworth. I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. But we're in a relationship, and it's such you have to share your problems. Or are you trying to tell me that you want to break up again? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Yeah, this is the second time this is happening. It's a running gag in this part. It's gonna happen a third time. Quite honestly, I don't think this is a very funny thing, so why always make the unfunny things running gags? I take it Lana's having you run errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give this to you if there was a break in today's trial. What if there hadn't been a break? Would you have just not given it to me, or would you have burst into the courtroom and just handed it to me there? This is a pretty flawed idea. Evidence law? Edgeworth was talking about this just the other day. Yes, let's flash back to that thing that the book is totally gonna tell me about in a few seconds anyway. The chief prosecutor also wanted me to give you a message. A message? She said if you're planning to take him on, you're gonna need this book. Him? I guess I'll need to give this book a thorough read. Okay. Let's check this important book out. Oh. I kinda agree with Gumshoe there to the left. I don't think this is gonna be very helpful. All that's left now is the chief prosecutor's sentence. That's where you're wrong, detective. Haven't you figured it out yet? Why I'm still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all the allegations being thrown at me? Isn't it because the only active, alive prosecutor in this state is Winston Payne, and nobody wants Winston Payne? That was my idea. The real trial today hasn't even begun yet. Ah, screw you, Edgeworth. What else is there left to do? Your credibility's been all but ruined with this forged evidence you weren't aware of. Emma Skye found out you unwittingly caused the man's death. What does it have to do with Edgeworth's reputation or whatever? And now, you tell me you want to do more? You've got to be kidding me, pal. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Detective Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his body. Happens every day. No biggie. That means the real killer is still out there. And I'm sure it's someone we've never met before. And we're gonna expose him. No matter what it takes. This case has hurt too many people. It's time to bring it to an end. Yeah, I certainly care that it hurt people like Angel Star and her food puns, and I feel so sorry for Jake Marshall. Also, it hurt Emma, then... Where is Emma? Oh, right, she fainted. Right? Being sleep deprived is not good.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
The inquiry committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions.
Thank you for the news, Your Honor.
Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth the witness. But, this isn't easy to say. You see, there's some concern that Mr. Edgeworth may have,
struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witnesses?
I didn't say that. It's just, you see, everyone has been talking and...
Very well, Your Honor. I have a solution.
A solution?
That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call forth all further witnesses.
What? But there's never been a case example.
Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It will prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. What makes you think that? If the prosecution has got into a bargain with the witness is still gonna say whatever the prosecution told them to say on the stand. Doesn't matter who calls them. The only thing that might change is maybe the witness is not called in at the time as the prosecution was gonna call them in. That's not a deal breaker though.
Well, Mr. Ryan, what do you say?
Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Yeah, and I'm not very happy about that, Phoenix. Don't praise him. Very well. The defense accepts the prosecution's proposal to continue this trial naked. Doesn't Edgeworth wish?
Then it's settled. The defense may now call forth the next witness.
Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... The time's finally come to bring out the real murderer, Mike Meekins! No, I'm just kidding. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand.
Damon Gant? What does he have to do with anything?
As the defendant's partner 2 years ago, Mr. Gant has first-hand knowledge of the crime. For one, that's Detective Gant, and for another... It still hasn't really been established that we are focusing on the SL9 case. I feel we should hear what he has to say about it. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the one least likely to have been manipulated by me in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor?
True. All right. Bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand.
Please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and occupation. So, you want to play hardball, huh? Well, Edgeworth sure enjoys playing with hard balls.
Please, Mr. Gant.
Fine. My name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Oh, righto. What's with the grim face? First, let's clear up the SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered that prosecutor? I'm not biased at all. Personally, I think it's been made pretty clear already. There are still some things unaccounted for. No, like what? Like the role you played in all of this. Son, you're either very brave, or very foolish. I'm guessing more the latter, but you'd think the former because foolish people are fools who generally don't know the danger they're in, so people mistake them for brave very easily. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure. Take my testimony, for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What? Is that true?
I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify.
If he implicates himself of a crime, whether it is related to this incident or not at all, yes. He has right to refuse testimony, yes. But that's not exclusive to him. Every witness can do that if they somehow implicate themselves. And again, refusing to testify always struck me as kind of like, I'm confessing that there's something I'm guilty of. So, you know, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. I don't believe you. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of my time, don't say I didn't warn you.
Very well, the witness may now begin his testimony, if he so chooses to give it, which he apparently does.
As I recall, Neil and I were questioning him that day. To make a long story short, we slipped up. That power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Now, apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, I had nothing to do with the forgery.
Is that when Dark was arrested?
Him? He was lying on the floor unconscious. That's not Dark. When Emma sent Neil flying, seems Dark bumped his head.
I see. Everything seems pretty clear-cut.
If the police chief has the right to refuse to testify, then I'd better hit him hard and fast. This is Phoenix's law. Hard and fast. As I recall, a ceremony was held at the police department that day. Yes, that's right. I guess you could say I'm a workaholic. After winning his award, Neil was all fired up too. That's probably what spooked Dark and made him run away like that. Was the defendant Lana Skye also present in the room? I don't quite remember. At the very least, she wasn't there when Dark ran for it. So the two of you ran immediately after him, right? That's right, but Dark made it to the elevator first, so Neil and I split up. He went upstairs and I went downstairs. I guess you could say he got lucky. What's this about a power outage? Oh, that. The elevator stopped all of a sudden, and I got the shock of my life. Well, probably not as shocked as Neil was when that knife went into his heart, though. That's not funny. Actually, it is. And again, thanks to Battle Royale, my already skewered perspective is more skewered right now. Could you tell us what you saw? It was a shocking sight. Neil and that serial killer were lying in a heap on the floor, all tangled together. I'm sure they enjoyed whatever they were doing there. Dark was also lying collapsed on the floor? Yes, apparently he hit his head and was knocked out. Everybody faints at the drop of a hat in this game. What, there's no character there that just is too damn stubborn to faint? Next to them were those two poor girls. Lana and Emma. Lana was cradling Emma in her arms. Looking back at it now, she must have already known what her sister had done. How can you know that? Because of the victim's body. It had already been moved. So that means you found the body near Lana's desk? That's right. I think you said earlier it was my suit of armor that really stabbed the prosecutor? Yes. So you're saying that the forgery had already taken place by the time you arrived at your office? That's exactly what I'm saying. I can understand how Lana must have felt, but moving a body and hiding evidence are inexcusable no matter what the circumstances. Is that how it really went down? Staring at the witness won't do you any good, Mr. Wright. If you're going to stare at anything, you'd be better off staring at the court record. Oh, Worthy, always a smooth talker. Yeah, this is actually like first base foreplay for them, so it'll get heated later on. But which piece of evidence ties Gant to the forgery? Lana did admit to forging evidence, but that can't be the whole truth. Somehow I've got to link Gant to the incident. You claim you had nothing to do with the forgery, but I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this list, for example.
That's the list Emma Sky drew a picture on.
This was discovered in your desk. Not only that, but a piece of the jar that was sitting in your office was found inside your safe.
It was found where?
You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation.
Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this?
Here's the defense attorney who may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then? That you were involved in the forgery?
Who, me? Or do you mean you?
Me? Why would I have anything to do with that? Well, you were the one who snuck into my office when you found the evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Yeah, they are apparently not, but that is going to be such a huge pile of crap in the next 7 years. Defense attorneys can do so too. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his punishment. If Detective Gumshoe's dropped any further, he'll end up paying to work.
Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding these pieces of evidence found in your office, and their relation to the forgery that took place at the crime scene.
My. Kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Fuck you, I predict shit long before anybody ever even thinks it up. I think of better crap. Like the plot twist in Battle Royale at the end that turned into a plot twist to make it more happier ending than previously. That was dumb. The first plot twist would have made a better ending, made a bigger impact. As it is, the ending's just it's an ending. Doesn't really give you any emotional impact. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and the list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when those pieces of evidence were discovered. If they were found after Dark was convicted, then they're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in a forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor?
When investigating the crime scene, you should have been more careful to observe protocol.
You tell this to me after 4 cases, where I just grabbed whatever looked somehow interesting in terms of evidence and shoved it in my pockets and got probably dust and fuzzle and all sorts of other crap on it. You do understand that I'm the chief of police, right? There will be consequences. Oh, Phoenix, it's an empty threat. This is the first game. It's much too early for you to get any kind of a comeuppance. Indeed, I believe I will press charges, so you won't make the same mistake again.
My apologies, Chief, but would you mind waiting until tomorrow for that? Today's, well, you know.
Alright, Udgy. In return, though.
I know. That place, right?
Did you guys just make up a fuck date? Okay. What are these guys, telepathic? Well, you and Edgy can be like that too at times. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop making these ridiculous accusations. Yes, you do have a point. You wouldn't have the guts to do something like that. What? I'll have you know, back in the day I once broke into a cattle ranch and tipped...
Mr. Wright, what are you saying?
Anyway, you can't prove you didn't carry in the evidence, can you? If you have proof to the contrary, you're gonna need it later. Later? What are you talking about? What else? I'm talking about when your fingerprints are found. Yeah, if they're found inside my safe, that would prove your investigation was illegal. I've never faced anyone as slimy as this guy. What do you mean by that? This is all purely hypothetical, of course. But suppose I did place those items in my safe. Such an act wouldn't necessarily constitute forgery. If concealing evidence found at a crime scene isn't forgery... I'm not through speaking yet, Mr. Wright. It all depends on when the evidence was discovered. Are you saying the jar fragment wasn't discovered in the initial investigation? It would appear not. After all, it wasn't listed in the evidence list. Which half? For all we know, it could have suddenly materialized the day after Dark was sentenced. And wouldn't that be convenient? Right. The chief is talking about a possibility, as long as you can't rule that out. Your remarks, however clever they may be, will only succeed in wasting time. Tell me something I don't know. Come now, Mr. Wright. Think about it. How can you look me in the eye and say that? He can. What do you mean, how can he do it? Sheesh. Because I'm innocent. Liar. Liars and murderers and all that can still look you in the eye and lie you right in your face. Remember? Who was it that murdered Neil? Your suit of armor?
I'm not sure I care for the word murder here. But in the end, the person responsible for Mr. Marshall's unfortunate demise was Emma Skye.
Well, now do you see? Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one very large benefit you've reaped from all of this. No, I wasn't aware. What is this benefit? That would, of course, be the position you have, Chief of Police.
Oh.
The resolution of the SL9 incident secured your promotion to Chief. That in itself is sufficient motive. Oh, that's a good one. Do you really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without that case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little bit. Is that true, Edgeworth? Why would he know? He's a prosecutor, not a detective. Yes, he was going to be made chief anyway. Duh. Be careful when pointing that finger, or you might end up being the one pointed at. So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Don't be silly, Worthy. You know me better than that. There are only 3 people I look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Oh gee, would you mind if I changed my testimony a little?
By all means, please do.
Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd be better thinking again. You're right. You don't feel sorry for anyone. I guess we're kinda similar there? Then again, I do feel sorry for people at times. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Oh, that's a good one, Worthy. Could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help anyone out for their sake. But if it would benefit you, you might decide to assist someone.
Mr. Wright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand.
That's not what I mean.
Very well, I'll ask. Who is this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped forge evidence? Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye, the defendant?
I believe it's quite obvious in light of the circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. That's not Emma! Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit.
Self-profit? What do you mean?
After the SL9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed chief prosecutor at the prosecutor's office, with absolutely no courtroom experience. Perfectly legitimate. The person who arranged the job change was you, Chief Gant.
But how would he profit from all of this?
He would be able to use the chief prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would acquire unchecked authority over all investigations.
Do you mean to tell me that despite the chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets?
That's not funny.
Oh wait, you must mean puppet as in someone forced to do his bidding. Never mind.
Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motive to appoint her as chief prosecutor so you could control her. Right, my boy. You have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something. What? Do you have any proof of this? That I controlled Lana? For example, is Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? She's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant.
I'm afraid with any proof this all amounts to nothing more than mere conjecture.
But it was always okay in all the other cases. Why are you saying it fails here? Unless that is also what happened in this incident.
This incident? Which one would that be?
Of course I'm talking about the murder of Detective Bruce Goodman. Oh yeah, that's what this case is actually about, of course. The chief prosecutor has been acting strange throughout this entire trial. Has she? Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt.
Just what do you mean?
What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement.
I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious.
Huh?
This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in a law enforcement agency. To accuse the chief of police of blackmail and murder?
He didn't specifically say that Goodman was killed by him. He just said Gant was somehow involved in Goodman's murder, and that's it.
That's impossible.
Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. No pointing shoving this into my shoes. There's no turning back for us now. Yes! We can never turn back. We've been together since 4th grade, before the DL6. Looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this.
Can you prove this, Mr. Wright? That the chief, a high-ranking officer of the law, is involved in this murder?
Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell.
I see. Alright then. Show us the evidence that ties Chief Gant to the murder of Detective Goodman. Just remember, it better be good.
I think it was this that I had to present.
This is the ID card list.
Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. Subtuple 7. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. Please allow me to show everybody my ID so you can tell that this is totally not my ID card number. It's your number.
What? How do you know that?
The safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code.
7 digits? You don't mean...
I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was subtuple 7. Which totally means something, of course. You know, something else other than Gant is kind of a moron using a very easy number to crack something open. The same as the remaining ID card number on the list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Chief Gant, what do you have to say?
Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. And I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Somebody needs to do some fan art of this, what this punishment could mean. But right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of the ID card.
Chief Gant, so you admit it? You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime?
What about it? I'm chief of police. Whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom, what's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Even the ladies' bathroom? I mean, not that I care, I mean, I've been in both gender bathrooms and seriously, neither of them has anything that the opposite has never seen before. Tell me. Don't freeze video. Seriously, we're only 37 minutes in? Feels much longer. When you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Why would he be? I haven't seen him in days. You haven't seen him in days? Chief Gant, I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman.
What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lana Sky's guilt.
No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. Yeah, I already mentioned how they screwed up his character development with this case, so... If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting?
In that case, Mr. Red, I'm gonna have to ask you for some evidence. Show us proof that the victim went to meet the chief on the day of the crime.
Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or, to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the chief of police. Seriously? You don't have, like, even a part-time secretary or part-time detective that you hire only for a few hours just to work with lost item stuff? This goes right to the big macho himself? Yet you are in possession of the report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day.
He needed to?
Yes, to transfer the evidence out.
Ew.
Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room.
I accompanied him?
There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Exactly.
But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room.
The video froze again. There.
He could have just lent him his ID card.
Yes. Now that you mention it, I believe I might have done just that. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. But you showed us your ID card earlier. If you had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have been found on his body. Hey, he's turning Super Saiyan.
Chief Gant, you didn't.
The murder was most likely committed on the spur of the moment. No one in their right mind would choose the police department as a place to commit murder. Well, does Gant look all right in his mind to you? After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why else? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body. However, the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How did he manage to move it there? Oh my god, Edgeworth! Don't be a total phoenix about this. I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. No, so you think I just ordered an officer to do it? Hey you, take this here dead body over to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Chief Gant, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office. And all this time I thought it was a useless clue just taking up space. And yet when you did your own evidence transferal into the garbage can, you didn't remove it because... Plot contrivance. I really don't think Phoenix is somehow a genius to know that this would become important.
How could the Chief have moved the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence.
To move the victim's body, Chief Gant used this. This is how he moved Detective Goodman's body.
What's that? A screwdriver? But what does it have to do with this case?
Mr. Edgeworth, think back to the day of the crime. What is the screwdriver doing here? It's here because... Yes, 3 times of telling us that he brought it here and that he was asked by Gant and whatnot. After the ceremony ended that day, I didn't plan to return to the prosecutor's office. But you did, because Chief Gant asked you to.
You mean...
The body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. I think it's obvious what happened. Yeah. I mean... What? Why did he even think that it could mean anything other than that? What did he think Lana stabbed Goodman and be all... which car trunk to hide him in a eeny meeny miny moo, and picked Edgeworth's? The body was moved by the car.
Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car.
Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to carry evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. To transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye.
What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense's outrageous accusations?
Think back to the photograph Miss Starr took at the prosecutor's office. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed into the trunk to be taken away. It was exactly the opposite. If this is a picture taken from when she just plain opened the trunk to stab Goodman's body, or at least try to remove it, which is what she probably was supposed to do to begin with, why is there already blood on the coat? And why would Lana say she took this photo after seeing Lana's... Wait, let me try that again. Why would Angel say she took this photo after Lana stabbed Goodman if this was taken beforehand? It is a photo of the body being taken from the trunk, but it didn't leave the trunk.
Chief Gant, please say something.
I believe. Your time's up.
My time's up?
Sorry, Rido, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General after this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. He's an old grandpa! But the cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier? A police chief has all sorts of weapons at his disposal. Yeah, we're supposed to believe he's all invincible and shit, but really these are just dumb restrictions added onto us to prolong the case. And I really don't like it when things are dragged out. Weapons. Like the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now.
What? That isn't a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered.
So you're going to just run away after all this?
He's a chicken!
Run away? Don't make me laugh, Worthy. I stabbed old Goodman. That's what you're saying, right? But if you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, you think I had Lana dispose of the body? Well, I'm not denying that that's what you wanted her to do, but you might notice she's not that great at following orders. If so, show your proof and get it over with.
I'll say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gant is the current chief of police. This court will not tolerate any accusation against her without concrete proof. Well, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor?
Do we have any concrete proof? Proof that Chief Gant murdered Detective Goodman and made Miss Skye dispose of the body?
She didn't dispose of the body! Do I have any concrete proof? No. No, Your Honor. At present, I have no conclusive evidence. See, Yaji?
In that case, this court is forced to penalize you for your allegations against the chief.
What? I don't gamble unless the stakes are high. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Well, Algie, I'll leave the rest to you.
I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law. Law.
Is that a new con dance? I'm gonna lose a point! Lady Luck, Maybe we should have a word with her.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean?
There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. A lady who knows the truth. Another witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. There's still someone else. One more witness who can answer all the questions raised in this trial. Someone right in this very room.
Mr. Edwards, who is this person?
Why are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is the one calling witnesses today.
Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist?
She may not be willing to tell the truth, but we can't just stop now. Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth.
The defendant, Miss Lana Skye?
She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 p.m. on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body. In accordance with a certain someone's orders. This is still just conjecture on your side, you're not entirely sure.
Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Considering you have no, right to somehow call any witness, you have no right to somehow put up objections against this.
Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 50 minutes we will reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now...
Hold on.
Eh? Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat.
Listen good, Lana.
He's talking to Lana.
No fucking shit, Navi! I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claim, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. Isn't good? Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then. I've got a lunch date to meet. I'm blackmailing her, can you tell? I know I was very subtle about it, but yes. Oh, fuck's sake. There isn't a break yet? I thought there was a break. Depends, I think there's this scene and then there's a break. If there's not a break soon, I'm gonna break this myself. Looks like you managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, Ellie Pals. Detective Gumshoe. I'm not a detective anymore. I feel sorry for you. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Nah, don't worry. I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean... Maya? No! The other top-knotted girl! Emma! Remember her? Also, why the hell is there this mention of Maya? Probably just to remind people, Maya still exists! She still exists, you must like the series because Maya still exists when quite frankly, I don't care. Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Every other witness has that too. Nobody ever uses it. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said? Risks. What did he mean by that? It's simple. If the chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. You mean he forfeits his right? Oh no, wait, no, I remember who's coming up to me now. Gotta change my voice. You mean he forfeits his right to say anything too? Sup, Bubblegum? Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I guess somebody swept her up in there.
I've been listening to the trial from the gallery.
So she heard everything that's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before.
No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I always feel somehow relieved.
Relieved?
The knowledge that I killed someone. It makes me happy. Yeah. Now I finally know what really happened. To think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. And she did it all just to protect me.
Ever since her appointment as chief prosecutor, everyone who knew her said she changed. Perhaps it was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself... Shush sounds! She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything and everything the Chief told her to do. That must be why she became so cold. You think?
It was all my fault. It's all because I murdered Mr. Marshall.
Hey, don't go blaming yourself now. If you want to blame anyone, blame society, pal.
Chief Gant may be able to fool everyone else with his forgery, but he can't fool my memory. I remember now. I knocked Mr. Marshall into that armor.
Can't fool your memory. Honey, you're one of the good guy main characters. You can't kill anyone, not even by accident. Edgeworth was 9 years old and he still didn't manage to even accidentally kill anyone. You're kind of immune from either dying or from killing anyone which would cause you to die and actually be on trial properly. I see. Well, we'd better get back. It's time for the final act. Emma, why don't you...
No! I'm going with you. I want to be there when Lana tells the truth.
You'd be there in the gallery. No need to stand next to me. Let's go, right? It's time to end this. Next time. Oh good, there is a break.